The floods in Thailand, of course, happened. 3 large typhoons came across from the Philippines, across the top of Vietnam, into the top of Thailand. It doesn't normally happen in this way on a normal year. The floods normally come around, some come across the Philippines and turn up and go past China. Others occasionally come across. This year we had 3 hit Thailand, all in the space of 2 weeks. This dumped a huge volume of water on the top of Thailand, and of course if you understand the geography of Thailand, all that water coming into the Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai region all has to flow down onto the central plains of Thailand, and the only place for that water to go out is through Bangkok, a city of 10 or 12 million people. Okay? This has led to a situation where something like 1/3 to, or maybe a bit more, of the whole Thailand landmass has been covered with water over the last couple of weeks. Indeed, some areas have been covered over a couple of months. In the very early days, of course, we had something like 1,000 big factories being taken out of action in the big industrial estates very quickly, and something like 14,000 factories have been affected by this, which of course has led to something like more than 1 million factory workers being made unemployed, or temporarily unemployed at least, and well over probably 3 million people in the city of Bangkok itself being affected. That's led to what we've seen with panic buying, with shops in the middle of Bangkok not having water or rice or noodles available, and some other crazy situations like that. The sort of position that you have to consider as a business operator is, of course, are you underwater, which you'll know or not? Are you under threat of being underwater very soon, or are you facing something like supply chain interruptions? If you're underwater, then you may well be in what we call the crisis or the emergency phase of the situation. I'm not going to deal with that here today. Generally speaking, you have to be prepared for that beforehand, and what we're talking about there is the main aims being safety of the people, securing your assets, minimising any further losses. That's crisis management. We won't go too much into that today. As a business operator, the main things I want to focus on here are the fact that you may need a contingency plan or a plan B, or you may need to get moving on a recovery stage or a recovery phase, and you'll need a plan for that. The difference being that while you're underwater, you can start to implement a contingency plan. Your recovery phase may, in some cases, need you to wait for the water to go down. And the main things you need to think about with contingency planning are that you need to get organised and get organised quickly. You need to make a plan, and you need to implement that plan and monitor it. The key things you need to focus on: you need to be communicating with your customers and your suppliers to clarify their positions. There's no point you developing a contingency plan when your customers may be out of action or your suppliers may not be able to supply to you. So you need to be communicating with them very quickly, very clearly, seeing what the options are. Obviously, there'll be legal considerations. You need to review those from your contracts with your customers and your suppliers. You may have rent contracts, you may have various other contracts that you are committed to that you need to consider when you consider where or how I'll operate a plan B from. You need to be very careful about your insurance policies. Not everything can be claimed, and there'll be a lot of situations in Bangkok and Thailand here where flood claims are not payable. The reason for that is that in Thailand, floods occur every year, and so it's a very high risk, so a lot of insurance policies have clauses to say they don't pay for floods. Okay? So check your insurance policies early. Key thing about a plan B: it doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to be quick, but it doesn't need to be perfect.